Susanoo. Talking about the strongest defensive jutsu in Naruto without mentioning Susanoo would be a huge mistake. This is the ultimate power of the Mangekyō Sharingan, the ultimate defense. It's not just some ordinary chakra shield. It's a massive warrior that completely surrounds the user. Imagine having your own personal Gundam, but an even cooler, godlike version. But hey, just having a Mangekyō Sharingan doesn't mean you automatically get a fully upgraded Susanoo. It's like going to the gym. You have to level up step by step. Level 1 is an incomplete Susanoo, sometimes just a ribcage. Then, it evolves into a skeletal chakra warrior, which doesn't exactly look healthy. Over time, it levels up into the full-body Susanoo, where you get a complete armored warrior with badass weapons. Now, let's check out our Susanoo squad. First up, we have the eldest brother, Itachi. The one with a compact-sized Susanoo, but a limited edition version featuring the legendary Yata mirror and Tatsuka blade combo. Then we have Sasuke, who basically turned Susanoo into a Swiss Army knife with all kinds of upgrades. The most epic one has to be when he combined Susanoo with Kurama in his fight against Naruto. It was like putting armor on the Nine Tails, and it looked insanely cool. He even made Susanoo use Amaterasu, which is like upgrading a normal sword to a fire sword in a game. And finally, we have the final boss, Madara. This guy used Susanoo like it was a casual stroll in the park. The cage were fighting him, but it looked more like a bunch of kids trying to take down an adult. Just one swing from his perfect Susanoo sword could slice through entire mountains. Basically, not only is Susanoo nearly impossible to break through because of its insane durability, but it also fights on behalf of the user. Its power is absolutely terrifying, making it incredibly difficult to even land a hit on the person inside. So calling it the ultimate defense is definitely no exaggeration. Just a moment. Currently, our channel is really focused on Naruto and then One Piece. Would you like us to expand our content range? And are there any anime series you'd like us to make videos about? Now, we just want to take a moment to sincerely thank all of our viewers for supporting our channel. And we want you to know that we always read all of your comments and truly appreciate your suggestions and feedback. We are aiming to reach 10K subscribers, and we really need your help. Please support us by hitting the subscribe button, liking, and sharing our videos. Your support is our biggest motivation to keep growing and bringing you more exciting content. Alright, next, Yata Mirror. The Yata Mirror is a divine weapon that can change its nature to nullify any attack. Sounds a bit like cheating, doesn't it? And this just so happens to be Itachi's favorite toy in his Susanoo collection. Did Itachi use it in his fight against his little brother? Sasuke threw kunai at him? No effect at all. Paper bombs? Swords? Way too simple. None of them could leave a scratch. Even Black Zetsu, the so-called observer of history, had to admit that when combined with the Tatsuka blade, Itachi's Susanoo became invincible. And honestly, it makes total sense. One is a sword that can seal anything away forever, and the other is a shield that can block any attack. That's literally the ultimate can't hit, can't escape combo that no one wants to face in a PvP game. What's even crazier is that the Yata mirror is said to be capable of using all nature transformations. It's like having a ninja that can master every chakra element. It's not just a passive defense. It actively changes its nature to counter any attack in the most effective way possible. All in all, if Naruto had a ranking of the most overpowered defensive items, the Yata mirror would definitely be at the top. Kamui. Kamui is an exclusive gift from the Mangekyō Sharingan to Obito Uchiha, and later to Kakashi as well. But what's interesting is that these two colleagues were given different halves of the ability. Obito got close-range Kamui, while Kakashi received the long-range version. When it comes to defense, we obviously have to talk about Obito's Kamui. This ability allows him to make his body intangible. When activated, any part of his body that is about to be hit by an attack is automatically transported into the Kamui dimension. Sounds complicated, right? But at its core, it basically means nothing can touch him. Many ninjas nearly lost their minds trying to fight him because he would just disappear right in front of their eyes. Kamui is so broken that it can even dodge Shino's insects and completely avoid Amaterasu. But that's not all. Obito can also use Kamui to teleport his entire body, and even other people, into his dimension, then reappear anywhere he wants. Unlike the 4th Hokage's Hirashin, he doesn't need to mark a destination beforehand. He often uses this ability to escape attacks or travel long distances in an instant. However, like any other jutsu, Kamui has its weaknesses. First, Obito can only stay intangible for about 5 minutes. Second, while in this state, he can't physically interact with anything unless he has already touched it before. Want to fight? He has to turn solid again first. This is exactly the weakness Minato exploited to defeat Obito. Konan also figured it out and set up a sea of exploding tags that went off continuously for 10 minutes straight, making sure he had nowhere to run. And there's more. If someone else can enter the Kamui dimension, they can attack the parts of Obito's body that he sends there, just like how Kakashi was able to fight inside the Kamui dimension. Even so, we have to admit that Kamui Wa is still one of the most perfect defensive techniques in Naruto. The ability to evade any attack, move freely without limits, and even use it to counterattack. All of this makes Kamui an almost unbeatable defensive tool in Obito's hands. Shinra Tensei. This is an exclusive jutsu for those who possess the Rinnegan, and to be honest, it's so powerful that it's downright terrifying. Shinra Tensei is basically the ability to control repulsion and attraction. Sounds simple, right? But when Pain used it, the entire Hidden Leaf village was wiped out in an instant. This isn't just a defensive jutsu, it's the ultimate shield that can make any attack completely useless. When it comes to defense, Shinra Tensei can push away anything, from kunai and shuriken to even powerful jutsu like Amaterasu. Pain proved this by repelling Itachi's eternal black flames as if they were nothing more than a candle flicker. Because of this, Shinra Tensei creates an absolute safe zone around the user. Want to attack Pain? Sorry, but the moment you get close, he'll just blast you away, just like he did to Kakashi when he tried to close the distance. This is also a way to become completely untouchable. However, Shinra Tensei has its own critical weaknesses. First, it consumes an insane amount of chakra. After using it at high intensity, the user needs time to recover, and that moment of cooldown is when they are most vulnerable to attacks. Flying Thunder God Technique. The Flying Thunder God Technique is a jutsu created by Tobirama Senju, and later further developed by the 4th Hokage Minato. Many still believe that this technique is a form of movement, but that's not the case. Shunshin, or the body flicker technique, is the actual movement jutsu. The Flying Thunder God Technique and all its variants are space-time ninjutsu. To perform the Flying Thunder God Technique, the user must mark their target with a technique formula. Tobirama often inscribed or carved these seals onto weapons and used them in battle. Minato, on the other hand, could leave a seal with just a touch, making it incredibly fast. So far, there's no recorded limit on how many targets can be marked. Minato frequently used dozens of seals at once. The user can step into another dimension, allowing them to instantly teleport to the location of any marked seal, regardless of distance, or even across different dimensions. The Flying Thunder God Technique isn't just limited to teleporting the user alone. Anything the user is holding, in contact with, or linked to their chakra can be teleported along with them, though this requires additional chakra. We've seen Minato use the technique to teleport various things, from himself and others to a tailed beast bomb, and even Kurama. Minato could teleport along with another person, like when he carried Kushina, or teleport an object alone while staying in place himself, such as when he transported Kurama's tailed beast bomb to a safe location before it could destroy the Hokage Rock. In battle, Minato used the Flying Thunder God Technique with incredible efficiency, making it a core part of his fighting style. He could dodge any attack by teleporting to his seals scattered across the battlefield. He often left marks on his opponent's bodies, allowing him to suddenly appear right beside them, giving them no chance to escape and enabling him to swiftly finish them off. Essentially, anyone marked by him was as good as sentenced to death. It's no coincidence that Minato was nicknamed the Yellow Flash of Konoha. With the Flying Thunder God Technique, Both Tobirama and Minato were the fastest ninja of their respective eras. When these two masters were resurrected during the Fourth Great Ninja War, Tobirama was even able to connect himself to Minato's Flying Thunder God network, allowing him to teleport to Minato's technique formulas. They even marked each other with their respective seals, enabling them to swap positions. Minato and Tobirama used this tactic to launch a surprise attack on Obito Uchiha during the battle. Minato, who initially took a hit, switched places with Tobirama, causing the attack to land on their intended target. Sandshield and armor. When it comes to defense, we have to mention Gaara. Unlike other ninjas who have to actively use jutsu to create shields, Gaara has an automatic defense system. Basically, he just stands still, and the sand takes care of everything for him. Gaara's sand is like a personal bodyguard, 24/7. It allows him to create various types of defensive layers out of sand, from shields to armor, and even walls. We saw these forms during his battle with Lee in the Chunin exams. The sand shield is the first layer of defense, working like a moving shield that can block most attacks. But if the sand shield isn't enough, Gaara can use the sand armor, which wraps his entire body in a layer of sand as hard as steel, absorbing almost all the damage. This is extremely useful when Gaara can't dodge an attack in time, or when his opponent is too fast for the sand shield to react. In summary, with the combination of the sand shield and sand armor, Gaara has managed to avoid taking any serious damage for many years. His defense system has protected him from all sorts of attacks, from physical blows and explosive tags to explosive clay. And of course, we have to mention the Shukaku shield. Gaara can use his chakra to extract minerals from the earth, compress them, and mix them together to create a very special type of sand. He then transforms this sand into something powerful, even giving it the shape of a miniature Shukaku. The great thing about the Shukaku shield is that it's created with extreme precision and durability, making it incredibly strong, so strong that it can withstand the most powerful attacks, including devastating techniques like Kimimara's Dance of the Clematis, Flower. No ninja has ever fought as effortlessly as Gaara. This is why Gaara is always considered one of the most powerful defenders in the Naruto world. Later on, Gaara even gains the ability to create many different sand formations for defense, from sand walls to sand hands, to protect himself and those around him. Preta Path. Preta Path possesses a unique and incredibly dangerous ability, the power to absorb chakra in all its forms. While this is primarily considered a defensive technique, it is also one of the most effective tools for neutralizing most ninjas, who rely heavily on chakra and jutsu in battle. Through direct physical contact, the Preta Path can completely drain chakra from its opponent and even absorb and nullify any jutsu that is chakra-based. This power was clearly demonstrated during the invasion of the Leaf Village, when the Preta Path was surrounded by multiple ninjas. Instead of retaliating, it simply stood still, allowing the attackers to exhaust themselves as their strikes were absorbed by its chakra barrier. However, this ability does have its limitations and specific traits. The Preta Path cannot absorb purely physical attacks, such as Gaara's sand-based assaults. In such cases, it can only drain the chakra infused into the sand rather than neutralizing the sand itself. This path can create a barrier that surrounds the entire body, allowing it to absorb attacks from all directions and forming an almost impenetrable defense. To understand its power, we can look at the moment it stepped in to shield the Deva Path from Naruto's Rasen Shuriken and absorb the entire attack. However, this ability comes with its own risks. During the fight against Naruto, when it attempted to absorb Sage Chakra, a particularly potent and unique form of energy, the Preta Path was turned into a toad-shaped stone statue. 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven. The 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven is the ultimate defensive technique of the Hyuga clan. When they sense danger, they immediately release chakra from all the tenketsu points on their body, creating a chakra shield around themselves. Combined with the user's lightning-fast spinning speed, this chakra barrier forms an almost impenetrable defense, blocking all attacks from any direction. What's great about this technique is its 360-degree defense. Not only does it protect the front, but it shields the entire body. While the Byakugan has a blind spot at the back of the head, If an opponent knows how to exploit this weakness, they can still attack a Hyuga clan member. However, with this technique, that blind spot is covered. Unlike other fixed shields, the 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven is both flexible and powerful. The stronger the opponent's attacks, the more likely they are to be reflected back. This makes the technique extremely effective in close combat situations, or when facing a barrage of attacks from multiple directions. But is it unbeatable? The answer is, not really. Despite its strength, the 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven still has a weakness. It uses up a lot of chakra. The user can't just keep spinning like an endless top because the body has its limits. If you abuse the technique, you'll exhaust yourself. Perhaps that's why Neji, the genius of the Hyuga clan, still died in the 4th Great Ninja War. He probably overused the technique until he was completely drained. Hobi technique. This is a defensive jutsu used by Hashirama Senju, the legendary first Hokage, during his battle with Madara. Hashirama created a massive wooden structure in the shape of a dragon's head, which covered his entire body. He summoned this defensive layer instantly, without the need for hand signs. Similar to the revolving heaven technique, this technique forms a spherical structure around the user, meaning any attack coming from any direction will be blocked. In the anime, Hashirama used this technique to block a tailed beast ball. Afterward, it opened up, exposing Hashirama inside, who continued to fight. Summoning. Quintuple Rashomon. When it comes to the top-tier defensive jutsu in Naruto, the Quintuple Rashomon is definitely one of the most formidable techniques. It's an upgraded, perfect version of the original Rashomon technique, which was already extremely powerful. If one gate can block devastating attacks, then 5 gates at once form an impenetrable wall. This technique is used by Hashirama, and he can summon it instantly without needing to perform hand signs. This means the user can respond super quickly to any attack, whether it's unexpected or carefully planned. What makes the Quintuple Rashomon truly terrifying is not just its speed of activation, but its ability to control the positioning of each gate. While the original version simply summoned a gate to block an attack, the upgraded version allows the user to arrange and adjust the direction and position of all 5 gates as they wish. In other words, it's not just a passive wall of defense, but a system that actively blocks incoming strikes. An attack coming from the front? Summon a gate. A large-scale explosion? Set the gates up as a surrounding barrier. A powerful attack charging straight at you? Arrange the gates in layers to absorb the full force of the impact. As for durability, the Quintuple Rashomon has withstood a devastating attack from the combined forces of the tailed beast bomb and Madara's Susanoo sword. Yet it wasn't completely destroyed. It truly serves as a perfect shield to counter destruction-level attacks. In large-scale battles, creating a solid wall like this can help protect an entire area from wide-range assaults. Of course, summoning 5 gates at once requires an enormous amount of chakra, but since the user is Hashirama, everything is fine. Lightning Release Chakra Mode. The Lightning Release armor is different from typical defensive jutsu, like building walls or creating barriers. This technique allows the user to cover their entire body with lightning chakra, forming an incredibly powerful energy armor. It's not the kind of bulky armor that slows you down. On the contrary, it enhances all physical stats, from strength and reflexes to speed. When attacks hit this chakra armor, they are deflected. This armor can even withstand direct attacks from Jugo. Additionally, the lightning release armor boosts the user's speed to an almost untraceable level. When the lightning chakra stimulates the nervous system, it speeds up the signal transmission from the brain to the muscles, greatly increasing the reaction time and movement speed. The result? Ribcage can even dodge the fastest attacks, and even Amaterasu. Well, if a jutsu can dodge one of the most dangerous attacks in Naruto, it definitely deserves a spot on the list of top defensive techniques. The lightning release armor is also incredibly useful when facing opponents who rely on ninjutsu. For example, users of the Sharingan can predict the movements of their opponents. However, with the speed provided by the lightning release armor, even the Sharingan can't keep up. This is one of the best jutsu for dealing with opponents who use taijutsu. In close combat, if the opponent's attacks can't get through the armor, they're essentially just hurting themselves. However, The lightning release armor is not invincible. While it can block most physical attacks and help the user dodge dangerous strikes, it can't provide absolute protection against jutsu with super high penetrating power. Sasuke's Chidori can still pierce through this armor, though it doesn't do much damage to ribcage. This means that if an attack can focus enough power on a single point, it can break through this defense. Moreover, while the user's speed is increased, if the opponent has a technique that is faster or has teleportation abilities, the lightning release armor is no longer a perfect shield. The clearest example of this is the battle between the 4th Raikage and Minato Namikaze. No matter how fast the 4th Raikage was, he couldn't keep up with Minato because Minato's Flying Thunder God technique was simply on a whole different level. It's a space-time jutsu. Truth-seeking balls. The truth-seeking balls are actually orbs that contain all the elemental chakras. They can change shape at will and have the ability to destroy anything they touch. They can even nullify the opponent's ninjutsu completely. This sounds more like a weapon of mass destruction than a defensive technique, right? But in reality, when used correctly, the truth-seeking balls can become one of the perfect shields. While a regular jutsu requires chakra to activate, the truth-seeking balls, when covered by yin-yang release, immediately nullify the chakra in any attack, making every ninjutsu disappear as soon as it makes contact. It's like a divine eraser, erasing everything it touches. The truth-seeking balls can also be transformed into a perfect defensive armor. The user can make these orbs surround their body, creating an extremely durable shield. If an attack comes from any direction, the truth-seeking balls will immediately block it, nullifying the attack before it can cause any damage. This makes the user nearly invincible while standing in the middle of a battlefield. But don't think that they are absolutely unbeatable. Why? Because there are still ways to destroy them. First, extremely powerful senjutsu, sage techniques, or taijutsu attacks can penetrate this defense. Even when Obito had the truth-seeking balls, a Rasengan combined with Naruto's sage power was strong enough to destroy the protective shield. In addition to its defensive capabilities, the balls can also be turned into offensive weapons. If the user chooses not to keep them around their body, but instead shoots these orbs at the opponent, they will destroy anything they come into contact with. This means that the truth-seeking balls not only protect, but also put pressure on the opponent, forcing them to maintain a defensive stance. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.